how wonderful it is to be in wonderful Williamson County, the most beautiful place in the world, to live, work, raise our families, pray, worship, and play. We're very glad that we have such an outstanding group of members here and prospective members, and we thank you for being here. It certainly is a testimony to our great membership, our great leadership, and to the wonderful speakers and presentations we have today. Thank you for being here, and with that, if you will please stand, Dave Crouch will have our invocation. Please remain standing while we have the pledge to the flag.
Would you pray with me, please? Holy Father, we are so thankful for the blessings of life today, particularly for the blessings we enjoy here in our beautiful county, for the communities that we all reside in, for the schools that we have here, all of these that are unmatched almost anywhere in our great country. We're thankful in particular today for the relationships and friendships we have built in this chamber over the years, for the chamber that we have been a part of, and so thankful for the staff that has worked so diligently to give us a place to organize where we could discuss decisions that are important to the businesses of this community and to make friends like we have for many, many years. We pray now again for the unified chamber that we all soon will be a part of. We pray your blessings on the staff, for the leadership of this exciting new organization. Pray that you'll give us guidance so that collectively we can make our county and our communities even better each day. Ultimately, we hope we will use these blessings, Father, not just for our own benefit, but for the benefit of those who are less fortunate than we are. We thank you now for this food, for those who prepared it, for those who have served it to us, and we pray that it will nourish us and that we will serve you better as a result. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Be seated, please. I have a note to read to you. It is from our much beloved Nancy, and it says, to the Williamson County Franklin Chamber of Commerce members, I regret I am not able to be with you in person today, but I am with you in spirit. As chamber members, I thank you for the many contributions you have made and the support you have given the chamber and to me. As we move forward, I ask for your continued support for the new Williamson County Chamber of Commerce and for myself. My kind regards to all, Nancy. She's, by orders of the doctor, a few days in bed rest and therapy. Will make a full recovery, we're sure, because in this world of our wonderful health care here, how can there be anything else? And we look forward to her return. I'm delighted today to invite and introduce to you Jim Brown, Tennessee State Director of the National Federation of Independent Businesses, and he will make a special presentation. Jim, welcome.
Well, thank you, Judy, for the hospitality. Before I present this award, I've got to tell you that I had the most entertaining shoe shine of my life down the hall to the left today. Bubba Wells is not happy about the quality of NFL refereeing right now, and if you all want to hear his thoughts about the Green Bay Packers and all that, he does a good job down the hall, so it was a lot of fun. Before I get going, also, Glenn Cassida is here, state representative, and here to recognize Jack Johnson with this award, but Representative Cassida was one of a handful of state representatives that had a perfect NFIB voting record. He is a great man to work with. He's very, very pro-business. He's been very helpful to small business, and really appreciate what you're doing for our members, Glenn. I also want to congratulate you all on the merger that's about to occur. I think it's great that you all are finally getting under one roof, and I think it will really help I mean, this is already an exploding county, but it will really help get more things done for business, so congratulations on that. Speaking of doing great things for business, in particular small business, I'm here to present this Guardian of Small Business Award, which is our most prestigious honor, to Senator Jack Johnson. He's also an NFIB member. A little bit about the man, a little bit about the legislator. You already know about the man. He is a true Tennessee gentleman. He is very sincere, hardworking, and honest. And Judy, we were talking about this beforehand, that sometimes folks get up there and they lose a little bit of the humility, and Jack has not lost any. He remains very humble and true to his roots. He beams about Williamson County whenever I go talk to him about an issue, and he's just a great guy, as you all already know. 5 years I've worked with him. I have never heard him say a negative word about one person. That's very Christ-like, and I just, we love working with people like that. He just, that humility, he really never talks negative about anyone. He brings a positive approach, and I think that really elevates the debate in Nashville. And so, great stuff. You all know that he's chairman of the Senate Commerce Committee, and he does a great job running that. There are 8 other members along with Jack. There's Republicans, Democrats, but we see them together all the time, and he loves having fun with them. And they truly like working with him on issues. He's a fun-loving guy. That said, and Jack will remember this, there was a time where some folks came in to protest in your committee, and very uncomfortable situation, making a big ruckus, the media's in there, and Jack grabbed that gavel, and he whacked that gavel and got those authorities into the committee, had them escorted out, said we're adjourned, we'll come back when things calm down, restored order, and that's a leader. And our members really appreciate that, and I know you all do too. So he's nice and fun, but he's also firm when he needs to be, which is what a leader is. Jack Johnson, the legislator, is it's as good as it gets for small business. He runs his own business, so he's dealt with some red tape and bureaucracy, and so when he talks about these issues, when he's caucusing with his fellow members, they really respect him because they know where he's coming from. He's already dealt with it. We score legislation on behalf of our members. We have 8,500 members across the state. Jack's one of them, but Moody Tire is another. Several of you all are NFIB members. Thank you for supporting us. But we'll let the legislators know that we're key voting a bill. And this past cycle, in the last 2 years, we key voted 13 bills. Jack Johnson sponsored 5 of those, which was the most in the Senate. 3 unemployment bills and 2 tort reform bills. He actually wound up sponsoring, there were 8 or 9 other bills that almost made the cut, and he had several of those bills as well. So he really is a go-to senator for small business. When he comes to the committee and when he comes to the floor with a bill, he is extremely well prepared. And sometimes the bill will be contentious, sometimes it'll be a little easier, but he always takes each bill very seriously. And a lot of these bills that he's brought, he's convinced members of the other side of the aisle to vote for them because he's very persuasive. He's so prepared, the civility factor, the leadership that he showed in committee. He's really doing a great job for small business and for you all. Senator Johnson also scored a perfect 100% with NFIB. He's been, like I said, a member of NFIB for some time, so he's one of us, and I definitely know that he's one of you. So with that, it's my pleasure to recognize your Senator, Jack Johnson, with our Guardian of Small Business Award.
Thank you. Please. Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you. Thank you, Jim. Jim Brown does a great job representing small businesses all across the state. People in this room know, what Glenn and I know, and Charles Sargent. Small businesses are the backbone of our economy. We love our big businesses, but small businesses create the most jobs and have the most impact on our economy. And all I want you to know is that we will continue to be focused like a laser under the leadership of our Governor, Bill Haslam, on making Tennessee the best place in the United States to own and operate a small business. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Johnson. We're blessed to have such strong leadership on the Hill. We're extremely blessed and excited today that this is a historic occasion. It is a little bittersweet because this is the end of an era, but there's so much good to come with our unification. We have a room full and a community full of dedicated leaders. They had been in 3 separate chambers, and starting October the 1st, we will all be in one chamber. The leadership of the Williamson County Franklin Chamber of Commerce has been outstanding. Many of you are past board members. All of you are members that we appreciate so much. This year has been somewhat challenging, and we could not have gotten to this place without the leadership and the support of all of you, but particularly our board of directors. So if you will bear with me, I cannot close this year out of the Williamson County Franklin Chamber of Commerce without acknowledging those board members. If you are here, as I read your name, please stand. There were several who were not able to be here. Barry Alexander, Chris Zucker, Eddie Goodwin, Debbie Henry, Kathy Holland, Susan Miner, Juanita Patton, Steve Smith, Harold Brewer, Gary Buchanan, Dr. Ken Moore, Houston Naren, Mamie Sanders, Ron Schuff, Dr. David Snowden, Pam Stevens, Dave Crouch, Candy Donegan, Denise Goodwin, Hertha Hines, Andy Marshall, Dr. Pete Powell, Larry L. Westbrook Sr., and past chairman Richard Jefferson. Would you please join me in a round of applause for them? And a great appreciation. And of course, no chamber is efficient without a wonderful staff. We are blessed to have an outstanding staff, and I'd like for you to help me acknowledge and appreciate them. Faye Carwile, would you stand? Please stand as I call your name. Carol Mellett, Rennie Gould, who is back at the office keeping the home fires burning, Pam Von Air, Emma Witherspoon, who is a volunteer, and Nancy Conway, of course, who is not here but is with us in spirit. Would you please join me in expressing our appreciation? This, as I said earlier, has been somewhat a challenging time, but it's been a wonderful time. There was a gentleman I met early on whose name was Brad Dunn. I didn't know this gentleman, but he's become a fast friend because he has the leadership, the professionalism, the talent, and the skills to bring people together and to think and consider every individual person. He's become a friend not just to me, but to every chamber in this county who is now a unified chamber, and to every individual. He's a friend of your business, he's a friend of your community, and he has a special announcement and introduction today. So Brad, would you please come up? Join me in appreciation, Brad.
Thanks, Judy. It is a pleasure to be here, and I would say that if can't remember if I was here this time last year or not, but I probably would have been a very warmly welcomed guest. As I walked in here today, it sort of feels like family all throughout the room. So this has been a great year for the process of unification. And as we started this thing, I guess it was just about a year ago, a lot of questions existed. I won't say that there were skeptics, but I like healthy skepticism because good questions allow you to arrive at good answers. And I would say that people in this room and in other chambers throughout the county have all done a great job of helping direct this process. It has truly been a group effort and one that has, I think, yielded a great result. I was here in July to address the mayor's conference there, or his speech, and it was a sold-out crowd, and we got another one today. That speaks to the enthusiasm that I think everybody feels. And so I just encourage each of you to continue on. The nostalgia is definitely part of what's going on right now, but this truly is a beginning and not an ending in and of itself. There's so many good things ahead, and so I want to try to answer a couple of those questions today, but won't take up too much time. We I guess in July, I know I used this analogy and it's kind of getting worn out, but I'm gonna go with it again for some of you may be new and you may appreciate it. But somewhere early in this process, we were told that this was going to be kind of like building an airplane while you're flying it. And I would say that in just about every respect that was true. And not just in sort of a funny way, but we had 3 fully functioning and excellent chambers of commerce. And what we tried to do was build a 4th one kind of all around them. So the process of unification was a process of addition first, where we were trying to run kind of a parallel track. And I would tell you that the staffs and the boards and other community leaders could not have done a better job at making sure that all 3 chambers kind of made it to the finish line to where we can pick up and run from now. Also back then, we talked about the vote that was pending. And I would just want to say thank you very much on behalf of the Transition Board and all the boards, if they would allow me to do so, for our participation. The level of the vote was outstanding, and as you know, the approval rate was over 95%. So you just couldn't have asked for a better outcome. So thank you all. I think that deserves a small hand at least. So thank y'all for that. Amongst all the things that you need when you're building a plane while flying it is a pilot. And it's my pleasure today to get to introduce to you the gentleman who we convinced, who gladly accepted the job of being our first pilot. He really deserves not a huge introduction because he's very well known to this group and to this community. But Jerry Sharber has agreed to serve as our interim general manager. I think he was on board in the job before we formally, he had accepted even. This guy just took the ball and ran and has done incredible things in 4 days. Really, from my perspective, who's been trying to kind of juggle a lot of things, Jerry's arrival is a very welcome one. So it's my pleasure to introduce Jerry. I think he's going to come and say a few words today, but his resume is long and it is impressive with community involvement and as well as professional involvement in this community with Bell South and South Central Bell even before that. As you know, he's a former mayor of Franklin and has been on the county commission. The resume just is an excellent one. He brings so many different skills that is going to help ensure a healthy transition from the old to the new and then well beyond. So Jerry, if you would come up.
Thank you, Brad. It certainly was a great honor to receive the phone call asking me if I wanted to accept this position. I said yes, of course, because I'm a community-minded person. We're doing something that's very historical in this community to bring in the community together. And to be a part of that is a real honor for me. It certainly speaks to the energy, the enthusiasm, and the desires of the business community in Williamson County. Certainly a part of my job will be to convey to you the type of staff we have. And I'll have to tell you, I've been extremely impressed with every individual on each of the 3 staffs. I received an email this morning from one of them that simply conveys the spirit that exists between the 3 staffs. And it had this phrase in it: teamwork is dream work. Teamwork is dream work. It's been the dream, and the staff is the team, and I can assure you they're getting it done. I want to say again, it's certainly an honor for me personally. I'm looking forward to getting to know and each of you that I do not know, and we certainly look forward to the challenges ahead. Thank you very much, and I certainly also want to be sure and thank the Transition Board for all of the support that they've been providing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry, and welcome back. We're very glad. I believe Joe Budd is here. Joe, where are you sitting? There we are. Thank you for being here too. Joe has been very key in our transition board. Any other transition board members here that I have not acknowledged? Thank you. I am pleased that our speakers today, and we finally gotten to them, but we did have important business. They represent both the Williamson County and the Franklin Special School Systems. And I would like to tell you just a little bit about each one of them. First, Dr. Mike Looney has served as Williamson County Superintendent and Director of Schools since December 2009. He was born in Germany and was in the 4th grade when he came to the United States. He earned his bachelor's and master's degrees from Jacksonville State University in Alabama and his Doctor of Education degree from the University of Alabama. He served as Superintendent of Butler County School District and as Assistant Superintendent for Montgomery County Schools, both in Alabama. He has been a public educator since 1994, serving as principal, assistant principal, and elementary school teacher. Prior to his entering the field of education, he served for 7 years in the Marine Corps. Dr. David Snowden, Director of Schools for the Franklin Special School District, has held that position since July 2001. He previously served as Superintendent of the Pascagoula School District in Mississippi. He earned his PhD at the University of Mississippi, his Master of Education at Mississippi State University, and his Bachelor of Science degree at the University of Southern Mississippi. Dr. Snowden serves in numerous civic and community organizations, is a graduate of Leadership Franklin, treasurer for the Steering Committee of Youth Leadership Franklin, and is a member of this Chamber Board of Directors. Please join me in welcoming our speakers. I believe they cast lots, and I believe Dr. Snowden is going first. Please join me in welcoming.
Thank you. Actually, Mike and I, we didn't arm wrestle, but the person least likely to jump out of a perfectly good airplane goes first. I should know better going first because he gets the last remark, so I need to be a little nicer this afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. We certainly thank the Chamber for this opportunity for Dr. Looney and I to speak about our respective school districts. We could both talk for much longer than the time we were allowed, but we'll be cognizant of that and move along quickly. Today I'd like to, before I start, I would like to comment. It's a great pleasure working with Mike. We don't work on a daily basis together, but we communicate quite often. And he has also been instrumental in having our boards, as we talk, having our boards work together. And last year we had a joint board meeting when we had some proposed legislation that both districts felt like were not in the best interest of our students. So I'm very thankful and very respectful of the work of Mike and the school board of Williamson County, and certainly appreciate the partnership we have with them. I'd like to take just a moment to introduce our board members. 4 of them are here today. 2 could not be here. 1 is at work, and 1 is had to leave town for a death in the family, so we wish them well. But first, if you'll just hold your applause till we introduce all of them. Sherry Badger is our board chair. Tim Stillings, our vice chair. Robert Blair, treasurer. Melanie Hembry, secretary. Thank you. A few other guests here: Associate Director for Teaching and Learning, Dr. Katrine Stevens. Associate Director of Finance and Administration, John McAdams. Communications Specialist, Susanna Gentry. Network Engineer and Technology Coordinator, Mark Anderson. And Administrative Assistant and Secretary to the Board, Carol Reardon. Thank you. We'll move through these slides. We have a PowerPoint presentation with some information. It's been several years since we actually were here speaking to the Chamber, so it may be some information that you were not aware of, or some timely information, or some new information. Who are we? We have 7 schools, pre-kindergarten through 8th grade, approximately 3,900 students. Here's a little bit about our demographics, student demographics. As you can see, 60% white, 21% Hispanic, 12% black, 7% Asian, Indian, other ethnic groups. 9.2% of our student body has limited English proficiency, mainly coming from our Hispanic population, and 14.3% are students with disabilities. Here is a little bit about our at-risk or our free and reduced students. As you see, the district total, we have about 37% students who come from families of at-risk or low income or economically disadvantaged. That's a little lower than what we've been in the last couple of years. Last year, it was approximately 42 to 43% of students in our district that were on free and reduced lunch. These are our elementary schools, our pre-K through fourth grade, Moore Elementary, Poplar Grove, Liberty, Johnson, and Franklin Elementary. Then our 5 through 8 schools, Freedom Intermediate is a 5th and 6th grade campus, Freedom Middle is a 7th and 8th grade campus, Poplar Grove Middle includes 5 through 8. It's really a K through 8 school, but we have them divided into 2 administrative groups because they're on two ends of the same building. We want to talk a few minutes about our successes, recent successes. We'll mention a few. Recently, the district was recognized as one of the 21 exemplary school districts in the state for the 2011-2012 school year. To earn this status, school districts had to raise proficiency levels on the Tennessee Comprehensive Assessment Program, the TCAP, make substantial progress in closing gaps between groups of students and ensure improvement for racial minorities, as well as students with disabilities, limited English proficiency, and those from economically disadvantaged backgrounds. Moore Elementary was recently named as a reward school for Tennessee. These reward schools were the top 5% of the schools in the state for annual growth and also for annual achievement on the TCAP. Moore Elementary was in the top % in both those categories. Also, successes from last year's achievement test. The FSSD was 3rd in the state for math, 4th in the state for reading language arts, science, and social studies. Of course, my counterpart here, Williamson County, was #1 in all of those areas, so we're striving, but out of 136 school districts, we're pretty proud of being 3rd and 4th, so, but we... Someone says, well, how are you so successful? Well, there's one big reason right there. This is out of our certified staff, 34% have bachelor's degrees, 66% have master's degrees or higher. We do have a great opportunity and a deep pool of applicants for every position. And I know Mike has the same opportunity, the same excellent pool from which to draw to have the most talented. We also work very diligently to create a positive salary schedule, a positive benefit package, so that we not only can hire those individuals, but we can retain those individuals. Besides that, we have a very dedicated and supportive Board of Education, as you met 4 out of the 6 members earlier. We have a very talented administrative staff, a supportive group of parents who are concerned about the education of their children, and a very supportive community. We have lots of community partnerships, and many of you are involved in those partnerships, so we really appreciate the partnerships that we enjoy with many of you and others in the community. Our challenges are many, but I only listed 4. Somebody said, well, how many challenges are you going to put up there? And I said, well, I don't think we have enough time to talk about all of them, but we'll mention a few. The first, continue to raise the achievement for all students. But on the flip side of that, not only do you have to raise achievement for all students, we're challenged with raising the achievement of many subgroups at a faster rate. So more than 1 year's growth for those students in those subgroups. Most of those that are the most identifiable in those groups where the challenge is to accelerate the pace is our economically disadvantaged students, our students with disabilities, and our English as a second language, ELL students. The second challenge is the successful implementation of the Common Core state curriculum. Those of you, you've probably read something about that. This year is the focus on math. The standards are much more rigorous to get all students better prepared for college and the world. And it focuses a lot more on it used to, we would say we had a curriculum that was a mile wide and an inch deep. Now it's not a mile wide, but it's very deep. And our teachers have received training, and they're working diligently to incorporate those Common Core standards for math this year, and then for reading, language, arts next year. As well as focusing on the improvement of teacher evaluation process, we are very proud of the partnership with Williamson County this year. As last year was the first year of the teacher evaluation, the new teacher evaluation process, with the help of Dr. Looney and some folks from his district, we were able to receive a flexibility plan which allows that teacher evaluation process, in our opinion, to be more formative in nature, more coaching in nature, instead of I got you, one or two visits and we got you. Because everybody deserves, in our opinion, the right to improve, and that's what we want, is our teachers to continue to improve the instructional process. And finally, a challenge is to continue to provide students and teachers with the necessary technology. Those of you know that all of our children and grandchildren are digital natives. They grow up and very comfortable with technology. They learn best, or one of the best ways is by using technology, but the challenge for all of us is to be able to provide as much technology as they need and our teachers need to continue the enhancement of the educational process. Finally, how can you continue to make an impact? Volunteer, participate, donate, sponsor. We have some really great partnerships. We have the FLIP organization, Friends Learning in Pairs, that come to our schools and provide some additional help for reading for our students. Raise Your Hand Williamson through the Williamson, the United Way of Williamson County. They'll be in 2 schools this year providing volunteers. Also, the United Way and the Patricia Hart Society provided school supplies early on. And then Against the Grain Image Builder program also provides tutoring for students in a couple of our schools. Participate in career fairs, donate to special school events, giving to Grace Works for the fuel bags. These fuel bags provide food for students who are from economically disadvantaged households for the weekends, so that's a great program. And also just sponsor any district initiative or school initiative, such as the Story Bus or Young Scholars. In closing, there's some contact information. And I know I've probably run over my time limit, Mike, but you'll get me back at some other point. We would like to say how important we know schools are to this community. I happened to listen to Matt Largen at Rotary last week in Franklin Noon Rotary, and he talked about one of the important variables in attracting business, corporate headquarters to this area is the quality of public schools, and probably the importance of that quality. And then with the enhancement of the Columbia State in the next few years, we think that's going to add tremendous educational value as well. So thank you for all you do and all the support you provide to the public schools, and thank you again for this opportunity.
I'll begin by publicly expressing my deep gratitude to David and his staff. It's wonderful to work in a community where school systems coexist, work together for the benefit of boys and girls and also for the broader community. And this community, I know, is proud of the work that FSSD does along with Williamson County. So David, congratulations. You do a darn fine job. I'm proud of you. I'd also like to recognize in a different way my board members. I have 10 of 12 here today, I believe, and a significant number of staff members. And rather than calling individual names, I apologize. We're about boys and girls and not the adults. So board members and staff members, if you don't mind, just stand up and we'll clap as you stand. How many of you were born and raised in Williamson County, please stand real briefly. Stand. Look around the room. One of the things that we can be absolutely certain of in Williamson County is times are a-changing, aren't they? I look in the mirror every morning and I recognize times are a-changing. The reason I say that is one of the things that we've noticed in Williamson County schools is our demographic is changing. The students that we serve in the community are changing. And because of that, our board has embarked on an ambitious goal, and that is to teach all of our students to speak a second language. And we're studying right now whether or not that language should be Chinese, Spanish, or something else. So one of the things that I'm doing along with staff members and students across the district is we're learning how to read, write, and speak Chinese in advance of teaching it to our students. So I'm going to practice on you just briefly. 我很高兴来到这里, which means I'm honored to be here today. Thank you for having me. And I'll try it in Spanish, although I'm not as proficient. Me honro mucho estar aquí hoy. I share that with you because one of our strategic planning goals is to teach our students a second language beginning in the primary grades. And you may have seen some of the published reports about that in the media, but it's exciting work. And I want to use this moment to extend an invitation to you. With a partnership that we've developed with Columbia State Junior College, we're going to be offering free Chinese and Spanish classes at Columbia State in the very, very near future. So I'll be looking for that information to come out. And if you too want to join our students and adults in the school system, then we'll be providing that free of charge in the near future. I also want to talk about communication in a different sense. And David touched on it briefly, because just because our students have been raised and grown up in Tennessee doesn't mean they communicate in the same way that we do. In fact, this is how they communicate. And I will tell you, Chinese is easier for me than this is. Does anybody want to brave reading that? Hi, it's great to see you today. Thank you for giving me time to speak. And so that's how our children are communicating with each other every day. And one of our challenges in school is to make learning relevant for boys and girls. So another initiative that we've embarked on in Williamson County is to allow students to bring their digital devices to the classroom and to use those devices to enhance their learning experience. Whether it's writing an essay, looking up a word in the dictionary, or teachers finding unique and innovative ways to engage learners in the teaching and learning process. So I'm going to, just for a moment, ask you to be a student. If you have a smart device, a telephone that has text capability, break it out. It's okay. I'm going to ask you in the to bar to type in type in the code 37607. So you're sending a message to the teacher who happens to be me today. And then I'm going to ask that you respond to this question: how do you get your information about Williamson County schools these days? And some of you are ahead of me. So you type in this code. If it's through the news media, through Bobby's Barber and Beauty Shop, you type in this 6-digit code, your neighbors, that one, and then if you use the In Focus newsletter, which is the primary source of informative communication coming from Williamson County schools, then you'll type in the last. Well, we're going to resolve that today, sir. Thank you for your question. How astute of you. You will not leave here without the knowledge of how to get information from our school system. Okay, so I'm going to let that sit for a minute. The first 40 responses tell us that most of you are getting your information about the quality of your public schools from the news media. And I'm going to be the first to admit they do a very fine job. But let's face it, you can't put everything in the newspaper. And you only get 15 or 20 seconds when they interview you on TV. And we have so much more to tell you. So many more things going on that I believe that you as stakeholders need to know about. And because of that, I want to give you some information about how to get connected, how to dive into Williamson County Schools before you leave here today. But before I do that, I do have to brag on our students, our teachers, our parents, our administrators, and our board, and you. And I do want to talk about where we currently are as it relates to student achievement. So this fancy graph here, every one of those dots represents one of the 136 school districts in the great state of Tennessee. The star right there represents the achievement and growth scores in the area of reading and language arts for Williamson County Schools. The crosshair represents the middle. You grew 1 year and you had average achievement. So this line is average achievement, and everything to the right of this line is student growth, more than 1 year's growth. If you're on the line, you had 1 year's academic growth. Long story short, in Williamson County, we're the highest ranked in achievement and the highest ranked in growth. It simply doesn't get better than that. And I'm going to say something. It's not just us. Franklin Special is sending us a good product to work with. So, David, thank you very much. I'm going to not be humble for a minute. Not only are we winning, it's not even close. In mathematics, the star represents Williamson County Schools. See for yourself. We are the highest achieving, fastest growing school district in this state. Bar none. Not even close. Science, look at that. Is that not incredible? Social studies. I share this with you, this information with you because that's the aggregate, that's all kids. But as I told you that our student population is changing, we have to look at all students in groups of students. How are they doing in comparison to the whole? So the red line represents the all students category. Each one of the other lines, this line represents Black, Hispanic, or Native American. The blue line represents students that qualify for free or reduced lunch. The green line represents English learners. And the purple line represents students with disabilities. And my point of it is this. Look at how the trend line looks. In language arts 3 through 8, everybody in the district is making progress. Now, some of our students are not doing as well as the all students category, but they're making great progress. In fact, you're not going to believe this when I tell you, but it's a true statement. Our disabled students in Williamson County outperformed the enabled students across the state. Pretty shocking, isn't it? Same thing for mathematics. Now, we did not have the luxury of being labeled an exemplary school district. We were labeled an intermediate district, and we have T-shirts that are in print, proud to be intermediate. But here's why I say that. The reason we weren't labeled as an exemplary district, the charge to us is to not only grow kids, and all kids, all of those subgroups, but to close the gap between these groups and this group. And so what happened in Williamson County, our all students group grew at a faster rate than the rest of our groups. Our other groups grew, and they grew well, but our all group grew faster. Well, that's a tongue twister. And so I want to share this I think this is the last piece of data, and this is our ACT score. We test 100% of students in Tennessee on the ACT. Most states only test about 20% of their top student population. So when you look at other states' ACT scores, the first question you should ask, are they testing everyone? And there's only 9 states that do. We're one of them. In Williamson County, our average composite is 23.1. That's above the state average, that's above the national average. And if we were testing just the top 20%, I believe we'd be in the top 5 or 6 districts in America as it relates to ACT scores. AP enrollment, advanced placement classes, look at the trend data from 2009 to 2012 and 13, just an explosion in AP. I want to real quickly go to one more poll. I want to ask you, David talked about students using technology. I want to ask you a question. What is the main purpose? Why would we support in the business community, in the parent community, in our learning community, a BYOT initiative? Why should kids be allowed to bring their own technology? And why should businesses consider partnering with districts such as Williamson County Schools and Franklin Special School District to get the students the resources necessary? It's like Heinz ketchup anticipation, isn't it? Okay, so you're right. Some of you are going to keep adding, but what we're focusing on with our technology initiatives are three things. We want students to be engaged in teaching and learning processes where students learn real-world communication skills, collaboration skills, and the ability to be creative in the workforce. So that's what we're focusing on. And we ask you to continue partnering with us and pushing us so that teaching and learning becomes more relevant in our school system. Finally, I want to answer the gentleman's question, and I think I'm right on time. Please, if I could ask you just for one thing, if it was going to be Christmas in the Looney house tomorrow, here's what I would ask for. Please sign up. Please stay informed about your schools. And in Williamson County, the primary source is through our In Focus newsletter. There is the web address for that. If you can't remember that, just go to our webpage and there's a link there to sign up. You can also follow us on Facebook. Please follow us on Facebook. Carol's pay raises depend on how many likes we get. So I'm just saying, Carol, I don't know. And then finally, if you're a Twitterer or a tweeter, then you can also follow us on Twitter, either the district or the tweets that I do, and I do 3 or 4 a day. Thank you so much. It really is humbling and a pleasure to work for you and the boys and girls of Williamson County. Our best days lie ahead with your continued support. God bless you.
Is there any wonder that everyone wants to come and stay in Williamson County? Thank you, gentlemen, very much. And it is so endearing to have such a group of people who have worked so hard to bring this type of message to us. You elected school board members, you have our thanks. But we do know it does not take just 1 or 2 people. It takes a community to educate children. And that means all of you are very involved. We would be amiss, too, if we did not recognize the supporters who are elected officials. So all of you elected officials, whether you be county elected officials, whether you be city elected officials of Franklin, Brentwood, or others, please stand up. I know I saw Mayor Anderson here, and please stand if you're an elected official. And we thank you for your support. The financial support and the encouragement that we seek and we get from our education department is very, very wonderful. And that community effort is what makes it possible for these experts to do their job in the way that they're doing, and we thank you. They will stay a few minutes after our meeting should you have any additional questions.
Judy, if you will, stand here just a minute. She thought she knew all the items on the agenda, but I got a call from Nancy Conway yesterday and asked me to make a presentation that is probably one of the most deserved presentations that we'll make today. Judy has been our leader since the 1st of January. She has been the chairman of the chamber. It's been a very, very challenging year, but I think the outcome you couldn't be happier about. The successful culmination of the unification efforts probably wouldn't have happened without the kind of leadership that Judy gave us. And I tried to think of a way to describe Judy's leadership. And at the risk of sounding like the chamber chaplain, which I'm nowhere near qualified to be, But the beatitude, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God, kept coming to my mind. Judy has a way of getting everyone to work together to achieve our common goals and to find ways to get things done that I've never seen anybody like her. And I want you all to join me in congratulating her. We've got a presentation here, a gift as a token of our appreciation. And we just want to say thank you, Judy. Thank you very much.
I never thought I would be speechless, but this really was a surprise. Thank you so very, very much. It has been an honor and a challenge, and it has been a delightful, historic occasion that we have gotten to this point, and I thank you all. It could not have happened without the group of people that we have. And thank you ever so much for your friendship, your leadership, and your support. Brad Dunn, would you please come forward? We look forward to seeing you on October the 15th at the first official joint meeting of the United Chamber. With this, I would like to adjourn the meeting by presenting the gavel to Brad, our first chairman of the Unified Chamber, with my appreciation and deep admiration. Brad.
Okay, everybody stand, not to ovate me, because I know you're ready to go. If I could get the slides loaded, though, I want to go over the strategic plan real quick. You are adjourned.